Hello, guys. Welcome to the Yearly Opinion Podcast. I'm Fenyon. We're here to talk about the UFC. We had an event. We're making a fast episode. If you didn't notice, by my speed right now. But let's get into it. The UFC went to Abu Dhabi last Saturday. Whittaker versus the Reader. We had a decent event. Uh, let's talk about that main event right off the bat. So Rainier the Reader face off against Robert Whittaker. So the Reader coming off that big win against Bo Nickel. Robert Whittaker hasn't seen action since getting his jaw snapped by current title contender Hamza Chimaev. Robert Whittaker, the former champion. Obviously, this was 5 rounds as all UFC main events, and it was the dynamic of the fight was that Whittaker was better at range. Bad, he was having trouble like landing like big shots that were hurting the Reader, and the Reader finally started figuring out that the same knees that he uses against Bo Nickel, like they are like a bad weapon against a lot of guys. I mean, Robert Whittaker has always had issues with knees and kicks on his career, especially because he's so heavy on his front foot and kind of hunched. He's kind of open for that kind of strikes. He's in not super good position to defend those. The Reader obviously like insanely long, and that's also something that kind of bothers Robert Whittaker. Strangely, because you would think like as a former welterweight that he would be like kind of used to being like a small guy in the division, but he doesn't do that great against super tall guys. So the Reader was like, okay, so first round I felt like Robert Whittaker was getting it done with the jab, with the 1-2s. But the Reader started figuring out like, okay, this guy's not hurting me that bad. So I'm just going to pressure and try to find my knees. I'm going to rough this guy up in the clinch. And that was the case. Like Robert Whittaker had some escapes against, but there was a few spots where the Reader was able to get like Whittaker against the fence and land like a few, like 3-4 knees to the body. I started to rough him up, as I was saying. Robert Whittaker had a huge knockdown after getting hurt himself, like super bad on round 3, I think. I remember it being like 2-2 going into round 5. And round 5 was like super close. Robert Whittaker made me insane during the fight companion because he started throwing like the right hand to the body. Finally, in the 5th round, he realized there was more targets than just the head, and it was so frustrating. I was screaming my lungs out, but yeah, like technically, like the Reader is showing that kind of like current champion Ricos Duplessis, who is like both guys are kind of janky, but at the same time, they guys you gotta understand these guys are huge. They they do a lot with the resources that they have, and they can adapt, they can find answers. So I feel like the Reader is very similar to Duplessis in that sense. Like Duplessis obviously like more immediately threatening on the feet, but the Reader more damaging grappler for sure. It was a decent fight. I'm okay with the decision. Co-main event was the big fight for me. Pierre Yan fights down in the division against Marcus McGee, who is like barely ranked, and but we were all expecting this one to rule, and rule indeed did. It was so good, man. Pierre Yan is just a delight to watch when he gets going, and Marcus McGee was a very good foil to show the good qualities of Pierre Yan's game. Not that McGee was not in the fight; he was like pretty much there. Pierre Yan, obviously, with his very slow start, downloading the data, as they always say, as the meme goes. But but yeah, Pierre Yan, the thing that he started like the thing that really won the fight for Pierre Yan was the clinch. Just finding different entries to the clinch, and a lot of Pierre Yan classics, turning lead hooks into single collar ties to let go with the uppercuts, backing up with frames, sleeping deep, collapsing the distance behind the lead shoulder, grabbing a collar tie, and smacking with the uppercuts, and also very good during breaks. Very good during breaks. Just pushing off the clinch, letting go with short combinations with hooks. Pierre Yan also like very good eyes. Marcus McGee at times was like stepping heavy into his over his knee to I think find the left hook to the body, and Pierre Yan was immediately like shooting the jab down where he was or threatening with a knee, a high kick. McGee was the dog in this fight. Like, he was there, but Pierre Yang was starting to find. And I think like the big difference in this fight was like the difference in depth in defense. Marcus McGee, like, it's I think he's kind of used to fighters like respecting the power, so he kind of like gets to shift for free or like give a look and get a reaction. And Pierre Yang was like just waiting, and very good use of a high guard by Pierre Yang, just taking a lot of shots, straight shots with the cross guard, just like double forearms up and moving his head just barely to make the shots miss. It was like very great performance by Pierre Yang. It was like it not. Other than second round, it's not like Pierre Yang was running away with it. I think getting into judging, that I think round 5 was not the swing round for Whittaker the Reader, and in this fight, like every judge gave round 1 for Marcus McGee, even though Pierre Yang had the very clear like cleanest connections. Commentary were hyping like McGee connecting on the high guard a lot though, so maybe like Pierre Yang doesn't have a very like judge friendly style of defense. Hopefully he has the big moments in offense to make up for that, but it was a very good performance. Chara Magomedov, Chara Bullet fought against Marc-Andre Barriol. Barriol coming off that big elbow knockout against Bruno Ferreira, but other than that, hasn't been looking like very hot. Very clear that the UFC was trying to throw a bone in Chara Bullet's way. And Chara Bullet, I gotta say, like, Chara Bullet, obviously, like, the hype is not guaranteed. Like, he's good. I wouldn't say that he's a bad fighter, but he's like pretty overrated. But what annoys me the most, is that he's kind of overrated as an action fighter. Like you really need a very specific set of conditions to make Chara Bullet be in a good fight. Like the Petrosian fight was very good because he was engaging him, like he was pressuring but not like pushing him to the fence, so he was like pulling him back and attacking with combinations and forcing him to counter. That was a good fight. This one, at times, I mean, it had like the big knockdown by, and I guess this what I think this got fight of the night, which like, okay, like it doesn't make any sense. Like if you want quality, like Pierre Yang versus McGee was way better. If you want action, we had some better ones down the road. But yeah, Boreal here came with a pressure game plan. That is what most guys do against Chara Bullet, and I get it. Like you don't want him to have like space and time to do all the fancy stuff. But Chara Bullet is also like accepts pressure very easily, but not a lot of fighters are willing to punish him, especially because he's so quick. And Chara Bullet has some very good cool qualities. He's very good at countering kicks with kicks of his own. He's very fast, as I said. He has like quick hands. He's not a good boxer, but he has quick hands. And the saving grace for Chara Bullet, and the thing that this allows most fighters for just bullying him, is that he's pretty decent in the clinch. He's very damaging with elbows, and he can find nasty knees too here and there. Barriel had a big moment on round 2. Hurt him with wasn't a cross counter, but a big right hand, slipping to the outside, a big overhand. But then he went like to pressure, try for a takedown, doing the old Gastelum against Adesanya thing. Chara Bullet then hurt him bad at the end of the second one. So yeah, I mean that was like kind of a swing round. You can go whatever you want with that one, but other than that, it was like all Chara Bullet. Like Barriel was not, didn't have like he's not willing at this stage of his career to put himself through the ringer to get the winning fights like this. And I think you gotta, unless you're very skilled and you can like outbox Chara Bullet when you put him against the fence. If you're more of like, Chara Bullet also like pretty decent at getting back up right now, like just using his athleticism, pushing up the hip, getting one leg out and just building a base from there. If you're not going to be like the superior boxer who like fucks him up against the fence, or like just a superior outfighter in neutral space like MVP was, you're going to, you will have to eat some shots to win against Chara Bullet, and he's kind of scary because he's pretty fast and he's hard and he has a very unpredictable kicking arsenal. So I get it, but if you're not willing to do that, you're not likely to win against him. That was the case. Asu Almabayev fought Jose Ochoa, who came in short notice here. Banger of a fight, fantastic. Just like decided by Almabayev, like just getting a few like key takedowns and using the threat of the wrestling to like push Ochoa back and land some kicks of his own. But Ochoa, like a pressuring southpaw, very good scrambling, good grappler. Ochoa is very promising, man. I'm not down at all here with him. We know he lost his debut against Lonnie Kavanagh. He took the back there. He took the back here against Almabayev at the end of the first round. But Almabayev, if anything, this fight was showing more like the limitations of Almabayev, more than the ceiling for Ochoa. Ochoa is like only 10 fights into his career. He's still growing. He's big for the division. I wonder if he will keep making 125 for the coming years. But Almabayev is very solid. Like, he's a dangerous striker. He has good instincts. Lacks process on the feet, and can look like limited when he doesn't get takedowns, but his takedown game is so good. He's a very powerful kicker. He's interesting. Bogdan Guskov fought Nikita Krylov. Guskov just being patient. Krylov was trying to not like lunge into range here, like he did against Dominic Reyes, but eventually he tried to step in a big kick, and Guskov just landed like big right hand over the top and then follow up with ground and pound. Good for Guskov. He's a very fun like action fighter to have in the division, and if Krylov is on the way out, like Guskov is a good replacement as an action fighter in the division. Bryce Mitchell made his 135 debut against Said Nurmagomedov. The previous to the fight, I was like, okay, Said should cook here on the feet, but he's way too willing to grapple. Bryce Mitchell is the superior, like more resourceful grappler here. Like, Said has success at times, but I don't know, man. Just bad decisions. Bryce Mitchell is very solid on the ground. He looks stronger, obviously, here at 135. He looked durable. He got like knocked down bad with a knee by Said Nurmagomedov, but he recovered pretty quick. So maybe this was the right move for Bryce Mitchell. I don't know. Muslim Salikov fought Carlos Leal. Very short fight, only 42 seconds. Leal was pressuring hard, almost with disdain here. Leal goes with a... Yeah, Leal was southpaw here, I think. He threw a left hand. Salikov slipped to the outside, didn't come back immediately. Like, he went like a slip to the outside, charged a huge overhand right, clipped Leal, I think, on the forehead, and put him out bad. It was like a fantastic knockout, man. King of Kung Fu, man. Just like, I thought like Salikov was starting to look like done at one moment, but not the case, man. I mean, he's obviously past his best. He's 41, but for his age, he's looking fantastic. He calls out Wonder Boy. I'm not sure if it's going to be an exciting fight. I think Salikov might... Actually, like, Wonder Boy is not that big of a counter fighter, especially now that he's old. He's very active. And if you're active against Salikov, you're getting a fight. So I don't get that, like, oh, staring contest and bullshit. Like, Wonder Boy is not in a staring contest, usually. I think people got the wrong idea from the Woodley fights. Like, Wonder Boy can be, like, kind of like 0.530 here and there, but he's not, like, low output. Salikov can be low output, but he's damaging. And I think against Wonder Boy, both guys will get to make like good reads, would not be worried about the takedown. I think it makes for a very good fight, and I think both guys are like the same age. Talking about old guys, Davey Grant put on a fantastic performance against Damon Blackshear. Blackshear got a takedown in the first round, was able to hold Davey Grant down for most of the round. Grant at the end was able to get back up, but then second round onwards, the Davey Grant show, man. Just all the classics, the shifting combinations, the big hooks, attacking the body with wide swings on open space, big leg kicks, trying to close with head kicks against the fence. Just great performance by Davey Grant, who is 39 years old, man. What a guy, man. Davey Grant's fantastic. Because beating Damon Blackshear, especially in the form that he has shown in his last few fights, this is no joke, man. I mean, he beat him easier than Mario Bautista, who I think very highly of. So, Davey Grant is for real, man. He might be at his best right now at this age, which is crazy to think, man. Tabata Rishi fought Amanda Ribas. Ribas, a beautiful counter takedown against the fence, showing off her judo black belt against fellow judo black belt in Tabata Rishi. And then just like taking over with the striking. Then on the second round, Rishi goes to the cage. The corner was calling for elbows. She starts finding some elbows, and she lands one like right in the eye that hurts Hivas bad, man. She was like smothering with head positioning. She had wrist control here to make the space. Let's go off the wrist. Goes with a, and it was like a swing over the top. It was like this, like a front elbow, and just in the eye, man. I think it broke a bone that was already broken for. I mean, that has broke in the past for Hivas. So she went down in pain and finished the fight with ground and pound. Great for Rishi, who has not been a finishing threat in the UFC. So good for her. Hivas, ever since she left ATT to just train with her dad, she hasn't been the same, man. And she's like getting up there in age. She doesn't have a ton of fights, only 19, but yeah, Hivas looked like very, very promising at one point. I think she was a top prospects for women's MMA, especially when she beat Mackenzie Dern back in the day. And she didn't really like develop. She has regressed as a striker, and maybe as a grappler too. I think like Hivas is very conditioned. She's decently athletic. And she's a dog, man. She's the fact that she went down for that elbow, it just speaks volumes for how much that must have sucked, because Hivas is so tough. But yeah, Hivas just like too aimless to make something happen here. Tabata Ricci, a lot more focused game, very athletic too. And good that she's starting to find like some tools to do damage and to win fights, especially getting a finish here. Hope that gives like Tabata Ricci a newfound confidence in going out there and trying to hurt people. Billy Alecana and Ivo Aslan had like a terrible, 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 awful fight, disgusting. We are not going to talk about that. They barely threw strikes. So let's talk about a fight which had a lot of strikes, because Stephen Wen, Mohamed Yahya, the fight began and Stephen Wen like knocks him down immediately with a right hand off a kick. And then he proceeds to knock this poor guy out. Like, he knocks him down like 7 times, a new record in the UFC. And the last knockdown on that first round, that was a knockout, man. Like, Yaya went to sleep on the ground, and obviously he woke up later. And Yaya showed, like, maybe Yaya didn't show, like, the quality to be a UFC fighter, but, man, he's a fucking dog, man, because that was insane. Insane. The way that he was, like, getting back up and throwing heat, because Yaya was, like, Yaya probably very well conditioned here, because he was throwing hard kicks. He heard Steven went back on the second round at one point. He got knocked down like very quickly after that. It was an insane fight, man. But yeah, I mean, good for Steven Wen, because I like him in his UFC debut. Yaya, probably not UFC levels. I hate to say that. Like, I hate to hate on fighters. I don't know much about the guy, but watching tape, because I think he debuted on a pay-per-view, so I had to do tape study for Mohamed Yahya. I had to see his UAE warrior fights, and he's like well-rounded, but doesn't have like an A game, and that's like kind of like, if you want to play like the no A game, just flowy kind of guy, you have to have more depth than he does and be more athletic than he is. So he's a very dangerous kicker, so maybe he can develop into something. Like, he's 18 fights into his career, he can still develop something. But he needs to find, like, something, some clear path to victory, because just, like, vibing here against the UFC level is not going to cut it. Talking about specialists, on the opener, we have Martin Budai against Marcus Buchecha, and Budai showing that playing Counter-Strike is a better base for MMA than being a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion, right? Buchecha, I don't know what it is, man. He's athletic, he's big, he's decently tough. The cardio has not been very good in MMA at all. But also, the thing with Buchecha is that maybe he doesn't train enough without the gi, because he plays a very slow game and he commits a lot of like mistakes in transitions, especially when fighters get sweaty. Budai, I thought he fought a very good fight. Budai is very big and he has a gas tank, so he doesn't like try to go for the knockout in every punch, so that puts him already like as an above average heavyweight. He's actually heavyweight sized, and he has the gas tank to go 3 rounds. But here, you're fighting like a guy that is so dangerous in one specific area is always complicated. And Budai, I feel like he fought a very good fight. He came very well prepared to deal with the takedowns of Buchecha. A lot of like circling to the side of the Wizard, pressuring him down hard, not allowing him to get to the legs at any moment, using the Wizard to blade his hips when he was taken down during the first exchange. And then on the feet, he also showed some good stuff. Especially, I like that he was like using a left hook of checking hands, which especially against someone that is not like a very experienced strikers like Whittaker is, like it takes the hands away from the face, and it also makes it hard to go underneath to shoot for takedowns. So it was a very good selection of tactics. Apparently, Budai is training with Tom Aspinall, and we'll be talking about Dirty Tom on a second, but yeah, I mean, it speaks well to me about the camp, because this was a very good game plan. Budai obviously like put in the work, he executed, but he came in with the right ideas to fight a specialist, and you'd be surprised how often we don't see that in MMA. Let's get quickly into some fight announcements, and we'll move into next week event. Let me check here. Okay, Bekoyev will fight Yusri Belgarawi. So Bekoyev was supposed to fight Torres Fini for whatever reason, and now instead of like the shortest wrestler in the division, he's getting the tallest kickboxer in the division, which is like wild to make that change of opponent, man. Bekoyev, I didn't think much of him when he was the LFA champion, but then he looked great on his UFC debut and on the next fight too. And he's funny on Twitter, so I guess a lot of people like Bekoyev now, and I kind of do too, man. I always appreciate when a fighter is like not very exciting and gets to the UFC and they start being like aggressive and good. Like a lot of fighters, this is real stuff. A lot of fighters get a big buff when they get to the UFC, like just the extra motivation. A lot of times, like we know the UFC doesn't pay well, but it pays more, right? So the extra money that allows you to maybe be a full-time fighter for the first time. A lot of guys get a lot better when they get to the UFC, and at the same time, a lot of guys when they get released by the UFC, you see a drop off in performance. Like it's the depression. It's like getting back to like earning a lot less money. And just like the demotivation, man. So I don't, and when a fighter gets like cut from the UFC and goes and loses on the regionals, it's not like, oh look at this is the supposed UFC level. And I'm not saving face for the UFC, but I think it is safe to say that a lot of fighters showed their best version when they are in the UFC, just because it's the most prestigious and organization in the world right now. And that's the dream of all fighters, right? You want to be in the UFC. Like maybe if the PFL throws like a good or one throw a good check on your face, you're going to take that, even if you're like a top tier prospect, because like money is money, right? But you don't dream about being on one on the PFL if you're an MMA fighter. You dream about being the UFC champion. And you can understand when fighters get to the UFC, some of them like just like play it safer. They can deal with it, but a lot of them get a lot better, man. And maybe the case with Bekoyev, right? Let's see what else. I misclicked there. Okay, this is a big one. So Aaron Pico was supposed to fight Ivloyev in last Saturday, okay? And that fight got cancelled. Ivloyev is out. But now we have Lerone Murphy against Aaron Pico at UFC 319 on like 2 weeks from now. So huge fight. I'm very excited about this. I hope they're paying Lerone Murphy like good money for taking this. I think Murphy probably takes this. But Pico is dangerous, man. Pico is dangerous, and he's obviously super well-rounded, so I'm very excited to see this, man. What else we have? I included this because I know you guys like the beefcakes, but we have Hamdi Abdel Wahab against Chris Burnett. This is going on at UFC 321, like 2 days after my birthday. So we'll be having a party there for Hamdi and Chris Burnett throwing down. We'll see if Hamdi tries to wrestle in this one. And it's interesting because Hamdi is still like quite taller than Chris Burnett, but Chris will not be like fighting a guy that is like 6'4" and trying to reach his head, so might be like a good matchup for him. What else we have? Ikram Aliskerov is fighting the Iron Turtle, Young Park, UFC 321. Also, like 2 days after my birthday. Very cool fight. Well, we'll see, because like if Aliskerov like fades, you know the Union Park takes over, man. And Union Park, very solid grappler and wrestler, so well, it's scared of probably the bigger puncher of the two, but Union Park has that jab. So this is a very interesting fight. I like it. This is a good one for middleweight. This is good middleweight matchmaking, especially because I think neither of these guys are ranked. So for unranked middleweight action, this is like top tier for me. What else? What else? Ateva Gautier is fighting OC Diaz. Kind of a sidestep for Gautier after his big win. But OC Diaz brings some interesting stuff to the question. He's like longer than Gautier, and he has very good cardio and takes over as fights go on. He's very tough too, so he might be able to test Gautier if this goes late. Does this go late? Like OC Diaz is very tough, but I mean Gautier is a huge puncher, and OC Diaz is kind of Yankee, so I don't know, man. Hopefully it goes long and we get some answers, right? Not that we like super need quick answers right now because Gautier is still developing. So I appreciate this matchmaking. They are not like throwing him to the lions yet. And if this like goes past the first round, it might pose some interesting questions about Gautier here. So I like it actually. Like I think it's kind of mean for OCDS, but it's good matchmaking. I'm not going to complain here. This one I won't be talking about the actual fight, just like Zach Reese is like fighting against Cedric Dumas, and what's the deal with the UFC and Cedric Dumas? Like, he has been mid as a fighter. I mean, he's not awful, but it's not like you super need him, right? And he's such bad press for for the UFC. Like he's a domestic abuser. He lost his he couldn't make it to his last fight because he had a device on his ankle. Like why is the UFC bothering so hard with Cedric Dumas? Is that Dana White has something a soft spot for domestic abusers, like he did with Greg Hardy? Is that the thing? I don't know, man. I don't know Cedric Dumas personally, but man, like it doesn't seem like he's a very nice guy. This one is big. This one is big. At 125, we have former title contender Manon Fiorot against Jasmine Jasudavicius. So Jasudavicius has been looking very good lately. And Fiorot, kind of disappointing in that fight against Valentina. She didn't have the depth to match the long time reigning champion in Shevchenko. We'll see what she does here. Jasudavicius has been developing very well on her feet, and this I think she will need that here because Fiorot is very hard to take down. If Jasudavicius takes her down, though, it might get ugly for Fiorot. Wish this was 5 rounds to be quite honest, but this is not a main event. It's a very solid fight. It's a very solid fight. I like it. What else? The big boys again. So Vitor Petrino, who like this picture doesn't make justice to Vitor Petrino, man. He was probably like kind of bloated for this picture. Heavyweight Vitor Petrino he's fighting Thomas Peterson, by the way. Heavyweight Vitor Petrino is fucking huge, man. He's so thick. He's a monster. Thomas Peterson, not the biggest heavyweight, kind of like himself, not super tall, but he's a very high level wrestler and he has a gas tank. So we'll see. Petrino might want to take this one on the feet. I doubt he will have like consistent takedowns on Peterson, but Petrino has big power. Peterson probably the better process on the feet, but Petrino likely the more dangerous guy. It's good matchmaking. I like it. The winner here can probably take a step up in competition here. And talking about heavyweights, let's talk about the big heavyweight announcement. We have Tom Aspinall. He's fighting Cyril Gane 2 days after my birthday. As I've been saying, huge fight. Very interesting. Obviously, like no one thinks that Cyril Gane is as good as Tom Aspinall. Like everyone hates Cyril Gane. I don't. Like I actually like him for whatever reason. But if there's someone that can kind of push like Tom Aspinall here, is Cyril Gane. So Cyril Gane, unless like Tom Aspinall can just like take him down and instantly submit him like he did with Alexander Volkov, which is like a very big chance because like no one does that to Alexander Volkov, man. And Tom Aspinall just walk over him. And we gotta remember Cyril Gane coming off a very like sketchy win over Volkov himself. A fight which he injured himself, but he still deserved to lose. But what's interesting here is that Cyril Gane is like, one, very fast, just like Thomas Pinal. Two, very big, just like Thomas Pinal. And three, Cyril Gane has a hell of a chin, man. And not that he cannot be knocked out by Thomas Pinal. Like, Thomas Pinal might boop him on the first 1-2 of the fight, but anyone in the division has a decent chance of making a fight out of Thomas Pinal and just not an execution. It's probably Cyril Gane. Obviously, I'm siding with Thomas Pinal to win here, like very widely. I think, like, I don't have a lot of reason to think that Cyril Gane wins here, but I would not be shocked if it was the case, right? Like, I wouldn't pick Cyril Gane, but if Cyril Gane wins here, like, I wouldn't be like, oh, I can't believe this. This is the craziest upset of my life. Nah, it's heavyweight. We still don't know how good Thomas Pinal is, so I really hope this fight goes a bit long and Cyril Gane gets to do his thing a little bit to see how, like, Thomas Pinal deals with that. Deals with a guy that is, like, mobile and has a jab from both stances, that can kick with him, that can clinch with him. So it's a very good. There's a chance that, I mean, no, there's a good fight in this matchup somewhere. Oh, are we getting that? Like, probably not. Probably we get, like, just another Thomas Pinal execution, but there's maybe a good fight in there. It's kind of unfair with Volkov, but I guess it's bad optics to the UFC to give the fight to Volkov if he's coming off a loss officially. I don't know, man. Talking about big fights, former title challengers Tatiana Suarez and Amanda Lemos face off at Noche UFC. This is on September. I'm very interested about this one. We'll see. Lemos kind of sketchy takedown defense at times, and so probably Suarez wins. But if Lemos can keep it on the feet, like, she is a hitter, like like basically no other in the strawweight division. So Suarez did not enjoy getting hit much by Wei Li, and if there's one thing that Amanda Lemos does better than Yang Wei Li is hitting girls, like, very, very fucking hard. So yeah, it's good. I like it. And the winner here, like, repositions to fight, like, one of the top contenders to see if they can, like, climb back to a number one contender spot again. We have Edmund Sebastian against Andre Muniz. Muniz doesn't really have takedowns. I mean, he gets surprise because he's very long, so he can lock in the hands and drive with the double leg. But I think Sebastian should cook him. He should cook him, like, super hard here, to be honest. So yeah, I don't know why I put it here. I kind of like Edmund Sebastian. Maybe it's that. I used to hate him, by the way. Khalil Roundtree is fighting Jiri Prohaska. UFC 320 at the beginning of October, so we have 2 pay-per-views in October. Fantastic. This is going to be so wild. This is going to go crazy. There's a chance for a big knockout early, both ways, especially for Khalil here in the early knockout here. But I mean, Khalil Roundtree can be kind of boring. Like, he was kind of boring against Jamal Hill, but come on, man. Like, if you want to get a good fight out of any boring motherfucker, you bring in Jiri Prohaska and you get a banger, like, automatically. And Khalil is not even, like, boring to begin with. Like, he can be a bit boring, but this one is going to fuck, man. This one is going to be fantastic. Fantastic is the word here. Merab Dvalishvili is defending his title against Corey Sanhagen. UFC 320. Corey. Maybe this new version of Corey, like, is not, like, the most exciting. Maybe was not very well prepared to deal with Umar. Oh, is Usman or Umar the one that it's in the UFC? Nurmagomedov, okay. But it's, I don't know, man. It's Umar, yeah. But maybe it's a good version because he has been getting, like, so much better at wrestling and at defending. And, you know, like, Merab is not that, like, oppressive of a top position gamer. I mean, he showed up, like, a more willingness to be, like, dominant from top position against O'Malley the last time out, but O'Malley looked like crap there. And Corey should have a decent advantage on the feet, and Corey should be one to exploit one of the, like, the limitations of Merab on the field, which, I mean, Merab has been getting like smarter and using his tools, but he's still like not a great striker here. So Sanhagen can probably take this one on damage, and he has the cardio to match Merab too, right? So very excited about this one. Very excited. What else we have? What else? Magomed Ankalaev is rematching Alex Pereira on UFC 320. Interesting. We'll see how what adjustments Pereira brings to the table here. Because I think he was kind of surprised with a lot of like the looks that Ankalaev brought, and he was like an off night, like he was not throwing at times. Ankalaev, and we'll see if Ankalaev like goes harder on the striking this time around, or tries to like mix in the wrestling more. He won a clean round in the clinch, but was not able to get takedowns on that first round, which is like, it's like, it has two sides. Like it's impressive, obviously, that he was able to win on the feet, like very cleanly against Pereira, but at the same time, it's kind of concerning. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool fight. Not quite sure if Pereira deserves the rematch here, but it's okay. It's okay. Like, he was like doing the UFC a lot of favors. He was like carrying the organization last year. So I guess like maybe not in the sports sense, but yeah, in the promotional sense, like the UFC owes Pereira, right? Like for being the big star of the sport last year. So yeah, I mean, I'm fine with this. UFC is keeping Jose Daniel Medina, the Bolivian guy that got his ass kicked on Contender Series. He's fighting Dusko Todorovic, who looked very shot last time out, but Todorovic is still like very skilled. Well, the thing is that Todorovic doesn't have a great gas tank anymore now that he's old. I mean, never kind of did. So maybe like if Medina can win a fight, maybe it's probably this one. So yeah, I mean, Medina is fun. He's a character. I get why the UFC is trying to get it. He's from a country that doesn't have any fighters and it's not likely to have any other fighters soon. So yeah, I mean, okay, Jose Daniel Medina, I'll be rooting for you one last time. Hopefully you win here. Navajo Sterling is fighting Rodolfo Velato. Velato, who everyone hates because they swear that he was acting against Paul Craig. I don't buy it, to be quite honest. Like, Velato is a dog. Weird reactions happen when you get confused. So I'll give the benefit of the doubt to him. This is a cool fight. Because like Sterling is obviously the superior striker here, faster, more gifted, but Velato is a dog. He's a dog and he pressures hard and he's very tough. He won't back down. Sterling might tire in a like very like close fight, and Sterling was like having trouble with a boxer in his last fight. Velato is not that he's a very good boxer, but he can bring the hands, man. So it's good matchmaking. What else we have? This one I just put it because it makes me sad. My girl, like Loma Lukbumbi, is fighting Alexia Tainara, and Tainara is like a beast, man. And she can grapple, so I'm very, very scared about Loma here. Especially if Loma tries to like take this to the ground herself, and she ends up on bottom position. Like, yeah, this one is probably going to suck. I might want to look away. It's not that it's unwinnable for Lukbumi, but it's very scary, man. It's very scary shit. So I'm a very big fan of Loma Lukbumi. I really wish the UFC made a 105 division. Not that she would be like automatically a champion there, but she would be way better there. The fact that she's competing and she's winning so much at 115 just speaks about her quality. Because like she's still like an incomplete fighter. Like, she's okay. She's an okay grappler, but especially in the meta of women's MMA, like a lot of girls are very decent grapplers. So Lukbumi is like size disadvantage with grappling disadvantage. You know that's a bad combination, but Lukbumi has been making it work just because she's like so good on the field. I like in a very technical sense. It's not like, and on the clinch too. Yes, it's not like she's like knocking girls out, right? But yeah. Let's get into this Saturday event. So this was supposed to be Amir Albasi versus Tatsuro Taira, but Albasi is cursed. So Albasi is out, and we have peace of mind Hyun Sung Park, who has been looking fantastic. So this is a great like prospect versus prospect fight. If you guys don't remember, Hyun Sung Park was last seen um, on May. He fought Carlos Hernandez. Carlos Hernandez, who has been a nightmare for grapplers so far. Like he had a competitive round with Tatsuro Taira before getting hurt and finished. Then he had like a grappling war with Rei Tsuruya. And then he was able to take a split decision of Tumenden Burrell, who is also like a high level judo player. So he has been fighting all these like a very high level like Asian prospects for whatever reason, Carlos Hernandez. And then comes Hyun Sung Park. And Hyun Sung Park just like takes him down and chokes him out immediately. Was very, very impressive. Especially considering that Park is very solid on the feet. So that's what makes this fight very interesting. Because like Park a very well-rounded fighter, but fighting the specialists here in the ground and the wrestling in Taira. But Taira also like packing power. He's a long southpaw, so both guys can challenge each other in each other wheelhouse. There, they have both like more well-rounded than you would think. Taira obviously coming off that loss against Brandon Royval, where he looked very promising actually. Like if you're going to get like your like if you're going to get to that stage where a veteran kicks your ass as a prospect, like Taira did not get exposed. He showed like tremendous dog. Even when he was like super tired, he still like remained dangerous. Remained like very very well conditioned for a guy that was like clearly very tired. He was able to push like time and time again during that fight. He was never completely out. I thought he was going to get finished. He always was like coming back, looking for answers, throwing hard back. So Taira is very promising. He's very big for the division too. And Hyun Sung Park are very high going. So I like this main event a lot, especially because it's a main event and it's 5 rounds. The co-main is Chris Duncan against Mateusz Rambecki. So Duncan has been getting those guillotines and those wins, and he has been like getting together a nice win streak here. Fighting out of ATT. And Rambecki, like he had that like big loss in the UFC against Diego Ferreira, and he bounced back with one of the best fights of the last year against Miktibek Orolbai. An absolute war of a fight. So yeah, I mean this is cool because it's like the more like Rambecki is obviously like the more powerful guy. Big top game, big takedowns. He puts you against the fence, kicks hard with the left kick. Duncan is more measured, more like building to the moment, and he has that like dangerous guillotine if things get sketchy, like that Rambecki likes to shoot, so that's interesting. Stevan Ribovics is fighting Elvis Brenner, and this fight is going to be a banger. The only thing that I'm like holding my breath here is that Brenner has been looking kind of shot. What's crazy about this fight is that Brenner is the younger of the two. He has less fights. I mean, he has more fights. He has 21 fights as opposed to Ribovic's 16. But Brenner has been looking sketchy ever since that like war with Kutateladze, man. He has been looking sketchy, and I think like Ribovic look kind of like lost a little bit against Hak Farast. He was still, but he showed to be a dog, well conditioned. Not super adjustable, but he's very dangerous, man. And if Brenner is getting hit, like he has been getting hit lately, like oh man, Ribovic can be very bad. But Brenner is a very tricky like wrestler and grappler, man. Those shoot a box guy, those are tricky if they get you to the ground. So Ribovic needs to be careful here. But Ribovic is no slouch on the ground, man. He has a very like nice like Kimura game to back it up. So I'm very excited about that one. Carol Hossa is fighting Nora Cornell. Cool fight for 135, man. Carol Hossa, I think she won that fight against Eileen Perez. Nora Cornell kind of has been looking kind of off on the feet at times. And then other times she looks like very good, and she's solid on the clinch and showed some grappling chops in the last one out. So this is a solid fight. Anil Magny versus Eliseo Zaleski. Zaleski needs to like kick here. I very really, and if he kicks the legs here, he can probably open up with the boxing. But Zaleski is like too like hot and cold when it comes to game planning. He sometimes like comes super well prepared to deal with like very dangerous wrestlers, and then he didn't know how to deal with a tall guy against Shidi Njokuani. Neil Magny is a very different kind of tall guy, but he's still a tall guy, right? Has the same height of Shidi Njokuani. And Magny with the clinch and like subbing on the cardio. Zaleski is like very up there in age. I mean, Nick Magny too, but Nick Magny is that kind of guy that doesn't get tired. So yeah, there's a chance this is a good fight. Danny Silva is fighting Kevin Vallejos, and this one is the like the hidden gem of the event, because like Danny Silva and Vallejos are like great. They're both fantastic, man. Very great prospects. Vallejos maybe the higher profile prospect. He's only lost against Jan Silva, and you know how good Jan Silva is on Contender Series. Then bounced back with one of the best Contender Series performances I've ever seen. Kevin Vallejos is a very like dangerous boxer, somewhat in the style of Ilia Topuria, I would say. And Danny Silva is more of a like switching stances, kind of slick kind of guy, but he's also like a very good boxer. So I'm very excited about this fight, man. This one is like the good one. This one is the good one for sure, man. Nick Klein is fighting Andrei Pulyaev. Whatever. Klein did not look like very high level in his fight. Pulyaev, like I barely remember too. Rinja Nakamura, former Olympian, is facing off against Nathan Fletcher, who lost his fight against Kalen Loughran his last time out, and they cut Kalen Loughran because his contract expired. They choose not to resign him despite him winning, but they kept Nathan Fletcher. But Fletcher is, but I'm not talking shit about Fletcher here. Like Kalen looks solid. That they had a good fight there, and Fletcher is solid, man. But will British wrestling hold up against international wrestling? That's always the question, right? Talking about wrestling and BJJ and that kind of stuff, Rodolfo Vieira. We'll see if he does better than Buchecha did last time out. He's fighting against Tristan Gore. Tristan Gore showed tremendous toughness against, who was it, Tulio in his last fight? But he ended up going down, like taking too many shots. Now Gore is the power puncher, obviously, here. He's very athletic, but we'll see if he can defend the takedowns. Like Vieira has been getting better at wrestling and better at keeping himself safe during striking too. Like Vieira is very solid, man. Felipe Buñez is fighting Rafael Esteban in a flyweight bout between Brazilians. Buñez coming off that armbar win against Jose Johnson, the like 7-foot tall flyweight for whatever reason, and Esteban is coming off that win against Jesus Aguilar, which had crazy scrambles. So maybe more crazy scrambles here, right? And the opener is Piera Rodriguez against Ketlin Sosa. I loved Ketlin Sosa's performance against Angela Hill. I thought that Angela Hill was going to drown her down the line, but Sosa stayed on the fight. Hill was able to have like more big moments, especially with the clinch, with the knees. But man, Sosa is a dog, and she goes to the body hard, man. So this is probably like, shout out to my boy Pliskin, because we have been like, when watching the fights, these like super early prelims, like women's MMA bangers, and I think this might keep the trend alive here. Okay, that's the podcast, guys. Before leaving, I just wanted to thank you, all of you, because on YouTube we reached the I'm into the partners program right now on the Fight Side Presents channel. I'm very grateful to all of you. If you guys are listening to in podcast platforms, I still appreciate you. But if you can, guys, like listen on YouTube, like that's probably more helpful to me. And this means that now I'll be having access to memberships and super chats and that kind of stuff. But when it comes to memberships, I'll be designing some emojis for the live streams, and I've been owing the Patreon boys an exclusive podcast for the last 2 months, I think. So I'll be getting into that, and that will also be available for YouTube members. So if you guys want to join the memberships, I still haven't checked the prices. But I'll make a post announcing that. But if you want to get on the memberships, you will get access to, and this is a promise, guys, one exclusive podcast a week. So, and that's going into Patreon, and into YouTube membership. So join whichever you will like the best. We'll be having like weekly Q&As, and also like a focus topic, which is more abstract than this, where I'm more confined to the schedule of the UFC. The first topic has been decided. It was decided like 2 months ago. Suggestion by my dear friend Melo, who requested a podcast on styles in MMA. So I'll be talking about that. This one is probably coming out this week or next week. We'll see about that. But yeah, that will be available for on Patreon and on YouTube membership. So join the whoever, whichever you like the most. I'll try to make it like available for as cheap as possible, so you guys can join and don't take a hit on your pockets, right? I'll be back on during the week with a video about matchmaking for middleweights. I'm probably putting this one like tomorrow or today, and we'll be back on Saturday with the Fight Companion. Talking about Fight Companion, I have another announcement. The plan is that I'll be doing Fight Companions for Contender Series fights too. So if you might be interested in that, we'll see when Contender Series begins. But I'll be broadcasting my live reactions and analysis for those as well. Thank you so much for your support, guys. I appreciate you a ton. As always, you guys are the best. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.